worked hard with my boyfriend Liam for 10 years. He finally became the CEO of the company, but the first thing he did after his success was to break up with me. He said, "You're just an ordinary girl from a double non-local background. How could you possibly match the new me?" I sacrificed my job to take care of his life. But after I gave so much, he chose to get engaged to Emily, the daughter of Mr. Thompson, the company owner. I don't agree with his statement. I think my soul is quite interesting. After all, after many unsuccessful blind dates, my stand-up comedy unexpectedly became popular. I worked hard with my boyfriend Liam for 10 years. He finally successfully switched to a new company and became the CEO. On his first day at work, the company's warm welcome made him feel particularly proud. "Don't forget to drive over to pick me up after work." Liam sent me a message on WeChat. I put down the dishes I was washing. Later, I texted him while driving, "How's the new company?" I flipped through our WeChat chat history. I found that I often send a lot of emojis. Messages keep coming in one after another. On Liam's side, his replies are always brief. He only replies occasionally. As I walked through the crowded crowd, I parked the car in front of his company. I rolled down the car window. I shouted to my boyfriend, "I'm here to take you home." Liam walked out the door with a few men and women in suits. They were chatting happily. I heard his colleague joking, "Hey," on his first day at work. "He has a girlfriend to pick him up." Liam frowned. He said, "She's my cousin. She happened to pick me up today. I don't understand why he wants to hide our relationship. Maybe he's always been this secretive." I didn't pay much attention either. Just like usual, I quietly waited for him to get in the car. After he got in, he sat in the passenger seat. He didn't say a word. It makes the topics I keep bringing up seem like I'm just talking to myself. "How are you getting along with the new colleagues? Do they seem okay?" If I hadn't asked first. Liam has never actively talked to me about his work. The company has given me the right to use an apartment. He didn't answer me directly. His tone became flat. It was completely different from the enthusiasm he showed when talking to colleagues just now. HR said I could move in any time. That's great. I already knew that Liam really disliked the rental house we had been living in for so many years. I couldn't help but ask happily, "So when are we moving?" Liam didn't say anything. "Close your eyes and rest. I think he might be starting his first day at work after switching jobs. There are too many things to handle. It's too tiring. Just slow down and let him rest well. But soon, I feel like something isn't right. My intuition is warning me, but I don't know where to start. And I can't doubt the man beside me. After all, I have been with Liam for 10 years. I even gave up a high-paying job that I could have easily gotten to take care of him. How could he possibly do something to hurt me? No, he absolutely wouldn't. These days, I increasingly feel like he is a bit hard to read. We have lived in this small rental apartment together since we graduated from college. I put a lot of thought into decorating this home to make it cozy, but Liam always seems to want to leave here. On the bedside table, there's a photo frame with a picture of us from our student days. I suddenly realized that photo from 10 years ago has already turned yellow. Time really flies, so fast that it feels unreal. My phone reminds me that today marks our 10th anniversary of being in a relationship. I'm a bit curious if Liam has prepared anything for this special day. Even though we have been together for 10 years, he is very busy with work now. He probably doesn't have time to prepare the surprise himself. It might be arranged by hiring someone with money. I hope he doesn't order me any flowers. They're beautiful but not practical. They'll wilt in a few days. In the end, they'll just have to be thrown away. I'm lost in thought. Liam's phone suddenly rang. He is taking a shower. I'm worried it might be an urgent work matter, so I hurried to grab his phone. Just as I picked it up, I saw a new WeChat message. "You and Sophia should set a wedding date soon. That apartment is for you as your wedding home." Wedding date and wedding home. These are two words I've always yearned for but felt were far from me. Now they are clearly in front of me, but I don't recognize the sender of this message. It's someone Liam has saved as Mr. Thompson. I quickly sorted through the information in my mind. I immediately recalled the way home earlier. I asked him when we would move, but he didn't answer. I was too happy for him at that moment, so much so that I overlooked the fact that his silence had already given an answer. It turns out he never intended to move in with me. That's also why I felt Liam has been a bit strange lately. I'm desperately trying to convince myself, trying to use our 10 years of relationship to persuade myself to believe in him, helping him find an excuse to deceive myself, but my hands can't stop shaking. I keep scrolling through his chat records with others. I'm afraid all of this is true. Even more afraid that I really found that person named Sophia in the chat history between Liam and a beautiful woman. I found a message he sent. An ordinary and uninteresting girl from a double non-prestigious background. How could she possibly compare to me? Obviously, I still found this Sophia. She is Mr. Thompson's daughter, Liam's boss. She must be a returnee socialite or an Ivy League academic. But how could he describe me as a boring, ordinary girl from a double non-prestigious background, just when I was alone, feeling lost in the impact of this betrayal? The bathroom door gently opened. Liam looked at me expressionlessly. He coldly asked, "What are you doing with my phone? What does this mean?" I opened his chat history with his boss. Just ask him directly. You need to give me a reasonable explanation. In the face of my questioning, he remained very calm, even somewhat indifferent. His expression of impatience, it was as if he was already prepared. The boss said he would introduce his daughter to me. Is it just an introduction? Isn't the wedding house already prepared? Are you just waiting for you two to set a date to move in? I just need to marry her, then we can live a good life. After I exposed him, Liam no longer hid anything. He snatched the phone away. While typing a reply over there, he coldly said to me, "You can't cling to me selfishly just because you have no ability, making me live a life of frugality with you. Let me spend a lifetime with you enduring a frugal and bitter days. So what does our 10 years together count as?" I stared at him with red eyes. I wanted to find a hint of reluctance or sadness on his face, but I saw nothing. Liam put down his phone. He finally looked up at me. His gaze was as cold as if he were looking at a stranger. "You said it before. If I were to like someone else, our agreement would become void." His tone was calm. "Since you already know, then let's break up now." I never expected it. A joke I made back in college has now become his reason for breaking up. I never imagined that the 10 years I spent with him would be turned into selfishness in his words. But if I were really selfish, how could he have the position he has today? Back then, my family was fairly well off. While Liam came from a poor background, we originally didn't know each other. One day, I saw him through the window of a private car, only able to drink free soup in the cafeteria because he lacked money. The next day, I went straight to find him. Confidently, I said, "You help me with English. As long as I can pass the level 4 exam, I will pay you according to the market price." He glanced at me, shook his head, and stayed silent. At first, I thought he was just quiet, but as I got to know him better, I realized Liam has a bit of an awkwardness in his nature. Over time, many people even thought we were dating. Back then, I always wanted to explain our relationship to others, to say that we were just friends helping each other study. But the more I explained, the less clear it became. To take care of Liam's self-esteem, I often looked for him to learn English before and after meals. This way, I could naturally invite him to eat together. Maybe my sincerity and kindness touched him. Liam told me he lost his parents when he was very young. He has been living with his uncle, living according to his aunt's mood. His uncle and aunt also have their own children, so he could only live on that meager scholarship. Because he had no money, he doesn't have many friends. He never attends gatherings with his roommates. Speaking of this, Liam's gaze was a bit unusual. There was an indescribable emotion beyond the usual. I didn't notice it at the time. I even patted him on the shoulder to comfort him. "If you don't mind, let's team up together. We can separate once we each find someone we like." He didn't say anything. He was lost in his own thoughts. Liam always seemed a bit dull. He would only say a few more words after a long conversation. At that time, I thought he was naturally slow to react. He was a slow, warm person. On his birthday, I gave Liam a new guitar, although my family's situation had started to decline by then. But giving a guitar was still manageable. The first song I taught him was called "Lonely Chick." That was my favorite piece. What surprised me was, Liam actually confessed his feelings to me. My best friend was holding a Polaroid camera. We took a group photo under the biggest camphor tree at school. I waved the photo under the tree, a moment of impulse. I agreed to Liam's confession. That summer, the sunlight filtered through the leaves and scattered on the ground, leaving dappled shadows. It captured the best memories of our youth on campus. I once thought we could always be together, but things are always unexpected. The human heart is hard to fathom, just like I didn't expect my family to decline over the past decade. I also didn't expect to part ways with Liam, whom I wholeheartedly loved for 10 years. He is now the CEO of a company and is preparing to marry an outstanding woman. He is reaching the peak of his life. I have to start over for my future. After the breakup, my parents pressured me to go on blind dates. I ended up meeting all sorts of strange men. The first blind date looked down on my education. So what if I have a bachelor's degree? A girl studying liberal arts is not as good as me, a science major from a junior college. After getting married, having children at home and doing early education is somewhat useful. The first blind date guy has thinning hair. His belly is quite big. He kept talking nonstop while sitting across from me. I looked at my new clothes that I bought on purpose and the makeup I did early in the morning. I felt that I had wasted time and energy. He noticed my manicure. He changed his position and continued talking. How much do you spend on your nails? This thing is not practical at all. Nowadays, women just like to spend money on these useless things, like chasing stars, traveling, and indulging in food and fun. Let me tell you, such women end up being unwanted. His words attracted the attention of the table next to us. Everyone turned to look at him. I really couldn't stand it anymore. I made an excuse to leave. Then I directly blocked him. Not long after, I met the second blind date candidate. He was dressed appropriately, out of politeness. I smiled at him. The first meeting was quite normal, but after adding each other on WeChat, things quickly became off. In less than 2 days, the matchmaker came to ask my mom, "When does your daughter plan to get the marriage certificate?" I stared at the WeChat interface. My mind was completely blank. It felt like 2 trains of thought were colliding violently. What does this mean? I directly asked the second guy I was set up with. "I don't think I've agreed to get married yet," he replied. "You smiled at me the first time we met. Isn't it just that you can't wait to marry me?" Days later, my family introduced me to a third match. I heard he is a decent person, after being deceived by Liam. I really wanted to find someone who could live a stable life, but I only found out after meeting him. He had just come out of prison. Now he's indeed more honest. My aunt, who had 5 daughters before finally having a son, particularly loves to introduce me to matches. After I repeatedly rejected the not-so-ideal candidates she introduced, she started to speak in veiled terms at the family gathering. "It's different once you've been to college. Her standards are quite high." Auntie said this while gesturing to my parents with her eyes. She praised those people she introduced to the sky. Her words implied that I was ungrateful. I know. The men she introduced were all willing to pay a high price for matchmakers because they couldn't find partners. Only then would they hire a matchmaker for help. Since I was unwilling to cooperate, she earned not a penny in matchmaking fees. She sighed. Nowadays, young people are reluctant to get married. When they get old, they'll be left in nursing homes without anyone to care for them. How pitiful. Uncle and Auntie chimed in together. "What's the use of a girl going to college? It's better to find someone to marry early. Look, no one wants them now. Right? Uncle's daughter recently found a rich man. He brags about his son-in-law to everyone. He seems so proud, as if he has achieved a class leap." My parents' expressions turned grim. My dad is usually weak-willed and cares a lot about face. He immediately pointed at me and said, "Stop being so picky. The son of that big factory owner has pretty good conditions, and you still look down on him. If you still can't get married this year, then you might as well not stay at home. Over the years, the family business has failed. My parents are eager to see some returns from me. Compared to the precious child they once pampered, I now resemble a plummeting stock. They are eager to cash out and recover their losses." My mom says nothing at all. She just silently watches them pressure me to get married. It's truly ironic. I've lived for 28 years. When I was in school, they always hoped I would stand out. But now, when it comes to such a major life event as marriage, they want me to just settle. I never expected, after going through a sudden breakup, returning home to face an even worse situation. I just don't like those men. Is there a problem? Does my marriage or not concern you? That man who has been to prison is so good. Why don't you all marry him yourself? Or marry your daughters to him? I've had enough of listening, no matter who it is. She directly retorted all the relatives present. The house suddenly fell silent. Everyone stared at me with strange looks. I almost forgot. It seems like a long time since I've expressed my emotions so freely. The last time was probably many years ago, after I went to college. The family factory went bankrupt. I'm no longer that young lady who was pampered and had everything handed to her. In my memory, my parents' arguments increased more and more when I was a child. I always thought their love was the most ideal and happiest. Now I understand. Love is just like marriage. Without a material foundation, it only leads to mutual annoyance. Auntie's face turned bright red. I couldn't say a word for half the day. The old me never challenged her lessons, and I would never embarrass her at gatherings. I'm doing this for your own good. She paused for a moment. Then she began to persuade me with family ties. We're all family. Who would want to harm you? I said coldly. What do you think introducing me to a bunch of useless men is good for me? Or finding me a criminal with a record is good for me? Even if you manage to make an introduction, how much can I actually make? At most, it would be 3,000 to 5,000 yuan. To push me into the fire pit for such a small amount of money. Can you live with that in your heart in the end? I don't know who stepped in to defuse the situation, but afterwards, my relatives dared not introduce anyone to me again. I chose a liberal arts major in college. It felt like I had done something wrong. Finding a good job is really quite difficult. Moreover, I'm just an ordinary student from an ordinary school. Nothing special. After several failed attempts, my best friend noticed that I've been feeling down, so she took me to see a stand-up comedy show. It got to the part where the comedian interacts with the audience. Unexpectedly, the spotlight ended up on me. I haven't been the center of attention for a long time. After stepping onto the stage, I was so nervous that my mind went blank. I didn't know what to say, so I just started casually talking about my unfortunate experiences over the past 28 years. I originally thought that the matchmaker's description oftenest, slightly chubby and decent-looking would be a good appearance, but it turned out to be nothing like I imagined. What struck me as even stranger was, my usually strong-willed father seemed particularly anxious about marriage. It felt like he was even a bit desperate, as if my future was already arranged from the moment I was born. All the sacrifices and efforts were for the purpose of better caring for that family in the future. All the effort and dedication is all for being able to better take care of that family in the future. I turned the strange remarks of the blind date into a joke. As a result, someone in the audience got anxious. Shouldn't a girlfriend be understanding of us? We men work so hard outside. Why should I still care about your feelings after work? A chubby boy spoke up. His girlfriend next to him also stood up to chime in. That's right. I'm really good to my boyfriend. Miss, do you feel unloved? I glanced at them. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I'm not the only one deeply caught up in this without realizing it. The funny thing is, my past self was just like her now. Both were just self-indulgent. In the end, it only moved myself. I calmly took a sip of water. I shared the story of me and Liam with everyone. The audience was occasionally amused by my humor. I laughed along with them, but only I understood. Behind this laughter, the past 10 years of youth have passed by meaninglessly. Sometimes life is more unforgettable than stories. I once believed in pure love. I thought 10 years would be enough for us to get along, ultimately leading to a happy marriage. But later I realized, if he had even a fraction of the love I have for him, I would have been incredibly happy a long time ago. Perhaps my jokes hit a nerve with many people. Those couples who grew up together can endure hardships together, but rarely enjoy blessings together. I quickly became famous because of this stand-up show. At the same time, many men also brought a bunch of online trolls to attack my social media accounts, claiming that I was intentionally tarnishing the image of men. And in the comments, they took it personally, commenting that, such a calculating woman, who would dare to marry her? Why can't we ordinary men be more confident? After all, most people in the world are ordinary people. Looking at those distorted comments, I just smiled. I didn't take it to heart. I don't understand. I just shared my most genuine feelings. Could they be like me? After spending 10 years of youth, did they encounter betrayal? But among the many similar comments, I noticed an account that stood out. Its profile picture is a pair of little birds. Although the account has few posts, it has been registered for a long time. The personal profile only has a long string of numbers. I faintly felt a sense of familiarity, although I don't want to assume the worst about others. I'm certain this is Liam's alt account. Sure enough, in several music sharing posts, I saw Liam's alt account frequently mentioning another account. Their conversation is very intimate, like a couple who has been in love for a long time. When I clicked into the other person's homepage, it further confirmed my suspicion. She is a very beautiful girl, but not that rich and beautiful Sophia from her posts. She has neither studied abroad at a prestigious school, nor is she a top student from a leading university in the country. What surprised me the most was, she actually graduated from the same undergraduate school as me. It's truly laughable, compared to the initial sadness. Now, as I carefully reflect on the details that made me doubt over the past 10 years, I suddenly remembered. when Liam was preparing for his graduate exams. To avoid affecting his studies, I chose to intern in another city. I wasn't even at school. It turns out, during the 10 years I was with Liam, he betrayed me more than once. Now, I am filled with uncontrollable anger towards Liam. I really want to ask him in person, what exactly did I do wrong? You deceived me while being with me. You were entangled with other girls. What I find even harder to accept is, his company actually held a press conference to announce his engagement to the boss's daughter, Emily. They even specially organized an event for it. While scrolling through Weibo, I found that the promotional efforts for the press conference were quite grand. There would even be multiple camera live streams on that day. It seems the company really values his abilities. Various marketing accounts have already begun to shape his image as a young and promising talent. He looks spirited in the photos. He is completely different from the quiet Liam I remember. He must not have expected this. I didn't sink into despair after the breakup. On the contrary, I began to shine on the stand-up stage. Quickly, I attracted a large fan base. In every stand-up show, I discuss the hottest topics that everyone is interested in. As long as it can increase views and attention, I will do my best to make it happen on short video platforms. The comments section of my work is still a mess, but I don't have time to care about who feels uncomfortable with my words. Nor do I have the energy to pay attention to those calling for a boycott of my stand-up. In short, those who can't bring me down will only make me stronger soon. Liam's wedding announcement conference was held as scheduled. The boss's daughter, Emily, was holding Liam's hand. They walked into the conference venue side by side. I got in through connections with media friends. I successfully entered as a journalist. The cameras on site were flashing. I was wearing a black hat and a mask. I chose a corner where I could clearly see Liam's expressions. I set up my camera. Before setting off, I had already organized the love stories from the past decade into an article. All chat records were accompanied by Liam's profile picture. I saved it in my Weibo draft box. I also set the publication time. I looked at my watch. My heart was beating faster and faster. Liam is the newly appointed CEO of our company. He is also the youngest president in the company's history. Next month, my daughter will be having a wedding with him. Everyone is welcome to attend. Mr. Thompson, the CEO in his 50s, is very satisfied with this future son-in-law. His beautiful daughter Emily is also very fond of Liam. Just then, the reporters in the venue began to stir. Liam was immersed in the limelight. He was also holding a beauty in his arms. He hasn't noticed that everyone's admiration for him has turned into suspicion. Finally, a reporter couldn't help but stand up to ask Liam, is the news that just broke online true? That Mr. Yan dumped his girlfriend of 10 years to become CEO and married the boss's daughter. Someone started it. Other reporters immediately surrounded him. No one wants to miss this explosive news. Liam, what do you think about the recent revelations? Some say the first thing after success is to abandon one's former lover. Is Liam really the irresponsible person described in the report? Emily is a wealthy heiress from a prominent family. She looks very well-matched standing next to Liam. They seem like a natural pair. Seeing the press conference being disrupted, this rich beauty finally couldn't hold back. She said angrily, "This is definitely a rumor." He said in a flustered manner, "This is definitely a rumor. Liam told me about this before. There is a woman who doesn't know her limits. She has been pestering him. Everyone, don't easily believe one-sided accounts from certain people. Mr. Thompson and his daughter have been giving Liam knowing looks. Because of such a huge scandal among the company's top executives, it will definitely affect the company's image. Liam insists on not admitting it. He only says that someone is deliberately spreading rumors, but it doesn't matter. I quickly produced more solid evidence, proving that he cheated multiple times during the relationship. Public opinion has completely turned in my favor. His PR team can only downplay the situation. They respond perfunctorily. Now everyone is clear. Liam can no longer clear his name. The reporters on site are even more excited. They are desperately trying to get the latest news. The already chaotic press conference became even harder to control. This scandal is more interesting than the news about the youngest CEO. I watched Liam's face change from pale to red. In the end, it turned purple. I couldn't help but laugh and talk to myself. On Weibo, my entry with Liam has become a hot topic. Everyone in the square is debating fiercely. I never expected him to be this kind of person, and to think he was a CEO. He's simply a modern-day heartbreaker. Hurry and leave. Who really knows what's going on? Maybe that woman didn't get any benefits. She could be framing him instead. I only spent 0.1 second in the gender guessing game. You should try it too. Those who rely on others usually end up with nothing good. Being independent is the best choice. There are still many comments. Some are comforting me, while others want to label me, the victim, with some accusations. I can't read them all one by one. I sent a screenshot of the trending Weibo entry to Liam. Say it. On our 10th anniversary, you gave me a breakup gift package. Now it's my turn to return the favor. After sending the message, I didn't wait for his reply. I just blocked him directly. This isn't over yet. I have to send him off one last time. Later, the scandal involving a high-ranking executive named Liam is getting bigger and bigger. Their company can no longer withstand the pressure of public opinion. They immediately announced the cancellation of the engagement between the two. They also publicly stated that they have fired Liam in less than half a day. He went from being the illustrious CEO of the company to a disgraced failure that no one wants to hire. I can't imagine how much he hates me now, or how out of control his emotions might be. I also don't understand why, after 10 years of dating, we ended up resenting each other. This time, even though my plan to retaliate against him succeeded, the situation is far more complicated than it appears. Right now, the hardest thing to repay is not money or property, it's the human connections. Although I gained some fame from my talk show for a while, talk shows are still a relatively niche form of entertainment, so I didn't pay attention to the trolls causing trouble in my comments section. After all, being attacked can also generate buzz. Only by mastering the flow of traffic can I have more say in the future. Only then can I have more say in the future. This period of time, many entertainment companies and MCN organizations have come to me for collaboration. As my fan base continues to grow, the terms they offer are getting better and better. But these efforts are still not enough. It's really too difficult to fight against the powerful forces of capital on my own. I need to acquire more resources. Only then can I completely cut off that heartless man's chance of making a comeback. In the end, I chose a large media company with extensive connections in both legal and illegal circles. When discussing cooperation terms, I didn't choose to just take the money. Instead, I exchanged the signing fee for some more favorable resources. I want to seek justice for the youth I've silently devoted over the past decade and ruin Liam's reputation. I also want to take this opportunity to create some buzz for myself, to rise again. I want to be famous. I want to make a lot of money. I want to take control of my own life and not be treated as a resource by my relatives, just casually introducing someone for a little matchmaking fee. Then one day, I drove my own luxury car and passed by my university. Right here, I ran into Liam. He completely changed my life, to some extent. We have also changed each other's destinies. If he hadn't betrayed me, we might still be together. He might not have become an executive. We might have had to live in a cramped rental for many more years to save up for a down payment on a house. Likewise, I wouldn't have been dragged by my best friend to see a stand-up show and step onto this shining stage, winning the audience's applause. In my memory, the campus has been renovated. I passed by not long ago. My alma mater invited me back as an outstanding alumnus to share my experiences and insights with the younger students. I thought about it for a long time. After returning to my alma mater, I decided to start this sharing session with stand-up, which I'm best at now. When I walked onto the stage, I saw the younger students in the audience. Their faces still carried the innocence of youth and admiration for successful people. I didn't expect that this ordinary and uninteresting girl from a non-prestigious school, one day, I too can become a successful person in others' eyes. I fell silent for a moment, but I couldn't bear to shatter everyone's illusion of success. 10 years ago, I was sitting here just like you, watching those outstanding seniors return to give speeches. But to be honest, I never thought I would have a day on stage myself. Are there any juniors willing to pinch themselves to see if it hurts? If it hurts, then it means it's real. We are not dreaming. Someone in the audience immediately laughed, and someone joked, "Sister, why don't you pinch yourself?" I quickly replied, "That won't do. I'm afraid it will hurt. You are young. It's normal to endure some hardship. When I was your age, the hardest thing I faced was the bitter melon duck in the cafeteria. I wonder if that dish is still available in the cafeteria now." Everyone laughed uncontrollably at that. Many people say that the cafeteria has long canceled this dish. I had to pretend to say it helplessly. "That's really a pity. It seems you can only taste the bitterness of love now, but don't follow my example. Those 10 years were really hard to endure. Looking back now, it was harder than cramming for finals with unending materials and books. Seeing me talk about my past experiences with unsuitable people in a relaxed tone. A few curious juniors raised their hands to ask me for some details. Facing these young people around 20 years old, I couldn't bear to directly tell them the cruel side of love and humanity. So I thought for a moment and answered them. Most of life's events are unsatisfactory. I once thought I had found love, but later realized that it was just my one-sided thought. So, never completely rely on others for your happiness and future. Isn't there a person in history named Zhu Huai who was very good at disguising himself and deceived many women? At the beginning of the sharing session, I was a bit nervous, but I relaxed quickly. After it ended smoothly, I wanted to look for that camphor tree from my graduation year. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it. Since I was here, I decided to check the school cafeteria to see if my favorite food stall was still there, since it wasn't mealtime. The cafeteria was quite empty. An elderly janitor suddenly called out to me, "Are you Sophia, who used to always treat her boyfriend to meals? What happened to you and your boyfriend after graduation? Are you married now?" I shook my head. "I just said that we broke up." The old man sighed. "Alas, he used to have quite a crush on you. He originally worked part-time in the cafeteria, though it didn't pay much. At least he could eat enough. Later, to see you more often, he quit his part-time job. I even noticed him secretly looking at you a few times while serving soup. I'm no longer that naive girl who was easily deceived 10 years ago. As soon as I heard that, I felt something was off. I quickly figured it out. Liam could clearly support himself with a part-time job, yet he pretended to be pitiful to gain my attention and sympathy. He took advantage of my kindness to scam food and drinks from me. After my family went bankrupt, he lost his usefulness, so he immediately cheated and sought someone else. Some things were wrong from the very beginning. Fortunately, Liam disappeared from my life from then on. I found a career I love. Now I can live for myself.